Hello everybody. Of course, everyone know very well the PC keyboard and the Word programs. So maybe you don't think there is something strange on these devices that has been inherited from the typewriters and other devices of last century. Let's see. 1. The position of the shift buttons on the majuscules on your keyboards. In the old typewriters there was a shift on the right and another shift on the left with the blocking mechanism. In a PC keyboard, these buttons remained in the same position they were a century ago in the typewriters. A single shift on the right and two buttons on the left with the blocking mechanism. In the notebooks and PC, everybody is using the shift block as it was 100 years ago. 2. Play, rewind and fast forward. In the keyboard of your notebook, in your multimedia keyboard, and also in the smartphone, to manage the music, you have these three buttons. You use these buttons to move forward, play, and move backwards the song you are listening. The same symbols were also in the CD reader. But originally these buttons were used for the music cassettes of the 70 and 80 years. The cassettes were composed of two reels of magnetic tape. So the button with an arrow meant to move the spool in this direction slowly, playing the music. This one with two arrows meant advance fast the ribbon in this direction, accumulating the tape in the reel on the right. The other button with these two arrows meant to rewind in this direction, accumulating the tape in the reel on the left. The music cassette disappeared, but this button survived all the technology changes from CD to smartphones. In fact, they indicate to you the direction of the movement of the magnetic tape on the cassette. 3. The QWERTY layout on the keyboard of your PC. It's a layout that was imposed as a standard by the typewriter producers because with this disposition it was less probable that the typing bars jammed together while typing. But it was not so useful from the user side. In fact, this layout didn't speed up the act of typing. It remained the same during 3 centuries because millions of people use it. So it was very difficult to change, since in every typing school it was taught. And this layout remained in the keyboards of the PC and also in the smartphones and virtual keyboard. But of course the computer don't use the typing bars and there is no problem of bars jamming. But people who used the typewriter started to type also on PC, so no one wanted to change it. 4. Cut, copy and paste. These are very famous word icon. Everyone uses it a lot. But when you didn't add the word, you had to type on a paper sheet. And if you wanted to change the disposition of something you wrote, you had to use for real the scissors to cut the text. Then you need the glue to paste the piece of paper in the correct position. 5. The folder. There is this icon on the PC. Here you can store the files, you know it. You did the same last century using a real folder like this. You use it to store the documents you wrote with the typewriter, a folder for each topic. Here nothing changed, also now you use a folder on your PC to organize the documents. 6. The numbers. The numbers are actually in the PC's keyboard on the right. Despite this, the numbers are also on the top row of the keyboard. It remained the same as it was in the typewriter. As is, this position in the upper row could be used for other symbols. but as in case of the QWERTY system, probably people is already used to find the numbers there and wouldn't like the change. If you want to say something in your PC, you have to use this icon showing a floppy disk 3.5 inch. The floppy disk of 3.5 inch is where you saved the data and the programs in a PC in the 8 years. It was a kind of USB memory. Strictly speaking, the disk of 3.5 inch is not floppy. The 3.5 inch is rigid. The name floppy takes the name from the disk used before, the 5.25 inch that was really flexible floppy. But also the 3.5 inch was defined floppy disk by common people. The name of the hard disk is also linked to this. At that time there was this flexible disk, the floppy disk, and this hard disk, and to differentiate them, one was called a floppy disk and the other was called the hard disk because it's hard. Very simple. You cannot confuse the one with the other. When you send a mail to enclose a document, you click on the icon with the clip. It is the same 100 years ago. When you wanted to enclose a document to another, you use the clip. 9. The position of the backspace. In all typewriters, the most common position was on the top right, and they remained also in the keyboard of the PC. Why to change something that it works? Have a nice day.